Welcome to the Word for Life podcast, a daily devotional covering the entire Bible from Genesis to Revelation.
In the last chapter of Deuteronomy, that is chapter 34, we read about the death of Moses. We see how God did not allow him to enter Canaan, but before he died, God gave Moses a personal tour of the land of Canaan. Verse 1 says, Then Moses climbed Mount Nebo. There the Lord showed him the whole land. And after this, verse 5 says, And Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in Moab, as the Lord had said. Yes, Moses was the servant of the Lord. Friends, the greatest thing in life is to be the servant of the Lord, to do what He wants us to do every day of our lives, and to finally die as a servant. In Philippians chapter 1 verse 20 and 22, Paul says, I eagerly expect and hope that Christ will be exalted in my body, whether by life or by death. For to me, to live is Christ, and to die is gain. Deuteronomy 34 verse 6 says, God buried him in Moab, in the valley opposite Beth Peor. But to this day, no one knows where his grave is. You see, Moses was the tallest figure in Israel's history. He was physically strong when he died, and Israel honored him with a 30-day mourning. But God would not let Israelites know where his grave site was. Israel was not supposed to make him a great hero and elevate him above God. Friends, Christian history is filled with God's servants who have served Him well. They are our inspirations, but not our idols. Even the Apostle Paul asked us to follow him just as he followed Christ. Christ, my friends, will always be our hero and guide. Believers earn to be like Christ and walk in His footsteps. But Moses needs to be appreciated. Before Moses died, he handed over his leadership to Joshua, whom God had chosen as the next leader of Israel. You see, Moses did not leave earth grudgingly, but he joyfully gave up his position to the other leader that God had chosen for Israel. The writer notes in verse 9, Now Joshua, son of Nun, was filled with the spirit of wisdom because Moses had laid his hands on him. So the Israelites listened to him and did what the Lord had commanded Moses. You see, Moses did not think he was irreplaceable or a leader par excellence who cannot be substituted. Moses showed Israel that Joshua, his younger assistant, could do what he did, and so laid hands on Joshua and encouraged Israel to listen to him. Friends, Christian leaders always faithfully finish their task and then hand over to the one God has appointed and move away, trusting the leadership to people God has chosen. Finally, the author of this section presents the unique value of the life of Moses in the history of Israel. In verse 10 we read, Since then, no prophet has risen in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. You see, Moses' contribution to Israel and to us is that he met the Lord personally. Therefore, the words of Moses in the Bible are indeed the words of the Lord, because Moses received it personally from the Lord. He only repeated or recorded the words of the Lord to us. The other contribution of Moses in Israelite history is, as verse 11 says, he did all those signs and wonders the Lord sent him to do in Egypt, to Pharaoh and to all his officials and his whole land. For no one has ever shown the mighty power or performed the awesome deeds that Moses did in the sight of all Israel. You see, it was the signs and wonders that helped Israel walk out of Egypt as free people. Believers today must not forget that there was one who did something similar to Moses, but something much greater than Moses. Jesus our Lord spoke of a sign and wonder that he will show while he was on earth, and that was his resurrection. The resurrection is the greatest wonder in human history. Through his resurrection, Christ led humanity from death to life, from slavery to sin, to fullness of life, from the grip of Satan to the loving hands of God. Friends, there is no one like Jesus, the one greater than Moses himself.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you tomorrow for the next episode of the Word for Life podcast.